Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Leverage Advantage Show, where we share with you the best ways to generate the most income with the least effort. It's fantastic to have you here with us. Today, we are honored and very grateful to have Jelena Ostrovska with us. Over and above being one of the top network marketing bloggers in the world, Jelena is also a business coach and online marketing trainer. She's ventured into network marketing at the young age of 18 and was in the top 3 lead generators for one of the biggest affiliate contests in 2016. Jelena, thank you so much for joining us today.
Right. Thank you so much for inviting me. The pleasure is all mine.
Thank you. And well, Jelena, tell me a little bit about what you're doing now and who do you help?
Okay, so I mainly help young entrepreneurs. So I enjoy working with people similar to me because I am 22 years old. So, whenever there's kind of like a similar, even not depending on the age, but with people who are like of a similar mindset, who are driven, who are passionate, who know what they want. And I primarily show them how to basically have more fun while building a business because, kind of building a business without, without balancing work and play, it is just like another 9-to-5 job. And I don't think it is that much fun. And that's why I'm always preaching online marketing and social media and things like blogging, which I'm sure we're going to talk about during the interview. Since we're talking all about leverage, I feel like there's so much leverage in online marketing compared to just doing home meetings and parties and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, like one of the things, so we run the Leverage Advantage podcast, but the bigger picture is we also run this group of companies called the Leverage Group, and we believe, like, you see how a lot of people do, they do home parties and they go out and giving brochures and doing cold calls, but that's very active, like you're using time as a factor of production. But what we do instead is we build systems so we can use money as a factor of production. So, when you generate traffic using ads, using SEO, using, all kinds of traffic generating factors, then, you really take away the constraint of time in your business. I'd love to hear from you a little bit about your past, like how did you get into network marketing and how did you get started?
Yeah, so I got started in network marketing when I was still in high school. My parents actually got me involved because they were with a couple companies before, and they showed me all the circles. They showed me just like the general stuff you always see like before joining a network marketing business. I was in 11th grade of school, so I was really busy, but I knew that I was supposed to go to college. So kind of like the general, route everybody goes to. And I knew it was kind of expensive. So when I saw network marketing, my first thought was, oh my gosh, I can make a lot of money and then I can pay for my college tuition fee. And it was like a crazy dream. And then I saw like people making a crazy amount of money, like $20,000, $50,000 a month. And I was looking at places like Harvard and those like Ivy League or whatever. And they are like expensive as hell. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can make so much money to pay for university. And little did I know it wasn't as easy as it was promised in my first network marketing opportunity. But I will say I was just a spammer in the beginning. And then, I guess like I really got that inspiration from my parents. I never really understood what it was like to have a job because my parents always owned their own company. So even if they had to go to office, they typically were able to bring me with them. So I saw kind of how they build their business, although it was not network marketing like since day one. So I kind of was never exposed to jobs. So network marketing totally made sense to me.
Awesome. And what was that turning point for you in your business or in your life when you decided that this is something I want to go all into?
There were a lot of different turning points, but I will say it was actually a tough decision just because everybody at school was going to colleges. They were all going crazy about the exams, and me too, just because I knew it was kind of like another option, and I knew it was like I was supposed to do that. You know what I mean? It is like everybody does that, so I'm supposed to do that as well. And I will be honest, I was not sure what I was going to do. I was like, maybe I'm going to go study languages. Maybe I'm going to go become a lawyer. Maybe like if you know me in person, like I'm not the person who would be a good lawyer. I mean, lawyers don't, it's just like not my, not my field and not my, like, totally not my thing. So, and then I had a conversation with my dad, and my parents did not have a lot of money to invest into my college. And we understood that you pay tuition fee, then you have to pay for the rent, you have to pay for the food. I wanted to become a fashion designer, so that was like really expensive to pay for fabric and different extra stuff. And my dad told me, hey, Jelena, do you really want to go into debt for the next 4 years and then hope to get a job? Like, is this really, like, does it really sound like fun to you? And it really got me thinking. And I was like, well, no, maybe there is another way. And it was actually the time when I joined my second network marketing company. And I physically did not have the time to build it because it was the last year of high school and there was like so many exams and I had a lot of extracurricular activities at school. So I couldn't even, like, it was a legitimate excuse. I just didn't have the time. I mean, I didn't have the time or energy to build anything. But my dad told me, like, hey, you're not going to college. Like, you can pass your exams, like get your diploma, get your good grades. But let's build this thing. Let's figure out how you can get some education online. Like maybe you need to travel somewhere. Maybe you need to go to some events. Maybe you need to invest in kind of, I don't know, like online education. Let's just build this, you know, and basically that's kind of, I guess that was my biggest turning point. And nobody really believed in me. Like none of my teachers, none of my friends. They were like, are you nuts? Like, you have the best diploma ever. What the hell are you doing with your life? So, yeah, the rest is kind of history, but it was a tough choice. You know what I mean? Like kind of going into like not knowing what's going to happen, kind of taking that leap of faith and like stepping into the whole game of network marketing. It was kind of scary.
Awesome. I love that story as well, because especially today, I'm always, when somebody says they're going to further their education, and then they tell me they want to go do their master's, and I always ask them, what's the economic value of you doing your master's degree? You're going to work hard and you're going to pay maybe $120,000, and then what's that going to give you? Maybe a $2,000 increase. And I think that's being very generous, right? But even with a $2,000 increase, it's going to take you about 4 or 6 years just to pay off what you pay for your MBA, and then you're going to profit. I'll tell you, like for me, one of the biggest investments that I ever made in my education was I hired a mentor, Christopher Duncan, to teach me how to build a business. So before I met him, we were doing about $100,000 a year. And I paid him $60,000. He's an amazing internet marketer. I paid him $60,000, and within 3 months, we did $250,000 together. And within 1 year, we did $500,000 together. And then over the next 12 months, we did $1 million. So to me, the investment of $60,000 in getting somebody to mentor you, to teach you exactly what you need to do to make money, I think is far greater than, say, paying $120,000 to go get an MBA. So, you know, I think you made the right choice. Now, what's one big tip or advice for listeners when it comes to creating leverage in their business? What do you think that would be?
I mean, first of all, you really have to understand, I think whenever you're getting started in network marketing, home business arena, there is a lot of hard work. So in the beginning, when I was first started out, I did not have any kind of leverage. I mean, other than social media and just online marketing in general. I mean, I have never done a single home party. I don't do a lot of like three-way calls. It's just like not my jam. I think it actually takes away from your time, considering that we're all in different time zones. I mean, you're in Singapore, I'm in Latvia. I cannot imagine in a whole world to do a three-way call with you and somebody in the United States. You know what I mean? That would be insane. So
I don't think we'll find the right time.
I mean, yeah, exactly. So in the beginning, I will say there is a lot of hard work. However, you don't need to go down that like path of doing home meetings, home parties, like all those events, because I feel like it is time consuming. That is not leveraged. What I call leverage is, you know, like let's say a webinar. I mean, if you really want to pack the house and get in front of a lot of people, webinars is one way to do that. Another thing, I mean, the ultimate leverage to me, if I really like think about it, it's kind of taking yourself out of the business and seeing what you can delegate. So where can you hire help? How can you outsource certain things that you don't like to be doing? Hell, maybe it's like, I mean, like somebody who's going to come and clean your house. I mean, it is not an income producing activity, so maybe that is one thing you could outsource. Maybe it is, I don't know, like sharing your videos into Facebook. I mean, just like the little things that take away a lot of your time. And I will say in the beginning, you may not know what those tasks are, because in the beginning, you kind of have to do it all on your own, just to figure out what you do in your business, what you don't do in your business. But to me, I guess leverage is really leveraging my time, because that's one thing I cannot get back. So
absolutely. I think you really touched on something really important there, is that I think especially when you've reached a certain level of success and you have money to solve problems that money can solve, you know, like one of the things I've said this so many times on the podcast as well, like when I look at my friends who are ultra rich, who are ultra successful, anytime they can solve a problem with money, it's not a problem, right? And if they had a choice between you spending their time to solve a problem and spending their money to solve a problem, every time they'll spend their money to solve the problem, right? Because if I lose all my money tomorrow, I can get it back. I know how to get it back. But any time that I lose today, I can never get my time back. That's a really good point that you made. Now, here's the question, Jelena. Like, what if you could go back in time 10 years and tell your whole self one thing? And that, I mean, you're 22, right? So 10 years,
yeah.
10 years will be when you were 12. What would you tell 12-year-old Jelena?
Oh my gosh, that is the craziest question I've ever got, because, okay, let me think, 12 years old. I do remember when I was 12. I mean, obviously I had no idea like what I was doing with my life. I was like in school. It was like, I think 7th grade or something like that in school. Honestly, I would probably, I mean, if I had to tell myself one thing, that would honestly, gosh, it is tough. Because if I really look back, yeah, it is. I mean, if I were 30, it probably would be a little bit easier. But I mean, if I really think about it, I have always been like a hard worker. When I was at school, I literally pushed every single subject. Like we had like 17 different subjects. We had a lot of languages. We had a lot of, you know, stuff like that. And I would probably tell myself to really focus on just a couple of them instead of pushing everything, because I feel like I'm not knocking schools or like higher education or anything, but I will say a lot of the subjects, they're just a waste of time. I mean, we had stuff like music, and I mean, I love art. It is like one of my hobbies, but it's not something I would really like kind of make people study, because a lot of the times we just don't really like what we're studying. So I mean, and actually my younger cousin, he's 13, about to turn 14. So I'll give you like the advice that I give him. I always tell him, like, his name is Maxim. And I say, Max, like, you don't need to be studying everything if you don't like it. Like, you have to kind of maintain all of your grades at a good level so you can go to university if you decide to do so. I'm like, well, you know, hint, hint, I'm not going to one yet. I'm still kind of like living a good life. And I tell him, you need to learn 3 things. Number 1, math. Like, make sure you constantly train your logic. Number 2, make sure you know computers. So I think they do have computer science. So you have to understand how, like, computers and a little bit of technology. It doesn't hurt. And number 3, language. Like, make sure you study language. English, like you must have your English at a good level, because for somebody who is like living in Latvia, or let's say he's in Russia, I mean, I can't stress it enough. Like, I always push the hell out of him whenever I meet him. I'm like, let's sit down and study English for a little bit, because I know how much the knowledge of language has helped me. And I totally feel like, I mean, the people that don't live in, you know, United Kingdom or the United States, they really have to like up their knowledge.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I think you make a really good point there. And I just want to say, like, anybody who's bilingual has such a huge opportunity. And I think you know this very, very well, because a lot of the knowledge, a lot of the strategies, the techniques and the latest strategies and the latest techniques that are working, a lot of the times it's shared in English. And when you're able to take that knowledge in English and then and all you need to do is translate it to whatever other language you speak, whether it's Russian, and and then share that with the people who speak Russian. That's such a huge opportunity as well. And just the fact that if you're effectively bilingual, that alone is such a huge opportunity for anybody, because all you need to do is take knowledge here, translate it, and deliver it in a different language, and it'll feed you for life. It'll feed you for life.
Exactly.
Excellent. We're moving very nicely. So, Jelena, tell me, I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier. What does ultimate leverage look like to you?
Yeah, to me, ultimate leverage, I actually did not embrace it until probably the beginning of the year. I was so against outsourcing and delegating just because I'm such a control freak and I always want to see how everything works. And if I need to edit a video, I'd rather do it myself because I know I'm going to do it better. If I need to, I don't know, like set up a website, I'd rather do it myself. I've always been this way. And even at school, I remember whenever we had different projects, I was like, no, I can just do it for everyone. Let me handle this issue and, we can roll with this. So really I think if we really break it down, what we are doing in our businesses every single day, the only things we cannot outsource is us being present on a video just like this. I mean, I cannot clone myself, unfortunately, to be here. I kind of wish I had a couple of clones. However, so you can't really outsource your face and you can't outsource your voice. So I feel like ultimately what you should be doing in your business, especially if you're leveraging social media and online marketing, is video marketing. You should be the one recording videos or doing Facebook Lives. You should be the one talking to people. So picking up the phone on, messaging with people on Facebook and stuff like that. The rest, it can be outsourced. So right now I have 3 virtual assistants that do images editing, video editing, sharing my articles and blogs into groups, and doing some social sharing and kind of everything else that I should not be doing, so I can instead focus on income producing activities. So I think that is really the ultimate leverage, is really getting yourself out of different tasks and then really focusing just on the things that make you money and the things that cannot be outsourced.
Excellent. That's exactly what I love. I think a lot of people don't really understand the benefit of virtual assistants right just yet. A lot of my team in the Leverage Group is they're in-house, but they are remote. So my video editor lives in Palestine. I have project managers in Australia, in the Philippines. My graphic designer is in Serbia, right? And and what this does is enables me to do what I do best, to do what is the highest value in my business, which is what you do as well. Fantastic. Now I've got a couple of quick fire questions for you. Okay, so when I ask you these questions, no pressure, just try to answer them as quickly as possible. Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. So what's the best advice you have ever received?
Okay. I think the best advice is be consistent. I mean, that was one of the problems I used to have. I was doing a bunch of different marketing strategies and then none of them worked. And then I heard it, I don't remember who it was. I think it was from one of the books I read, The Power of Small Actions Repeated Day in and Day out. And you just do it consistently until you achieve what you wanted to achieve.
Excellent. And can you share one of your personal habits that you strongly believe contributes to your success?
Pre-planning and organization. I mean, I'm such a junkie when it comes to notebooks and really just putting stuff on paper. Right now I'm using one of those passion planners. Beautiful. And yeah, I mean, it is one of my branding colors, so it totally matches. So I will say, if it's not on the calendar, if it's not on paper, it's not going to be done. So if this interview was not on paper, I would totally forget about it. And especially when you have a lot of things going on, especially if you're a parent and you have, a full-time job, you really have to understand what are the blocks of time when you can do work on your business and where do you have some spare time. So organization and pre-planning different activities and stuff like that.
Awesome. And what would you recommend as what book would you recommend as a must read? Just one book.
Okay, I will say one book. Probably the one book that really changed everything for me was The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. So we come to the last question, and this is really, I think it's a pretty epic question, and especially for somebody as young as you. Here it is. If you had 30 seconds left to live, what piece of advice would you give to the audience?
Chase your dreams and don't listen to what everybody tells you, because if you don't like what you're doing, it's just another job. So make sure whatever you do, it actually makes you happy. If you don't want to go to university, don't listen to your teachers. And if you want to build your own business, just go for it.
Awesome. You know what? I find a lot of symmetry and synchronicity with your journey, because I started my first business at 17 when I was in junior college. And I tried to go down the academic route, but that was just not, it just didn't suit me really. So I've been to university, but I didn't get my degree. And I always felt that the degree, that piece of paper shouldn't validate you, shouldn't be the benchmark of your value. And so I found other ways to generate income, other knowledge, other information, other experiences that would help me generate income, which is really what you've done as well. You've taken that alternative route and actually shown that it's more effective. It's more time effective. You get a lot more returns for the amount of energy that you put in and the amount of time and the amount of money you put in. So, I really love your story. Now, if people are interested in finding out more about you, how can you be reached and where should they go?
My main place online is my blog, so they can go to jelenaostrovska.com. So I hope you're going to put it somewhere, because my name is kind of tough to spell. And if somebody wants to reach out and send me a message, they can just go to my fan page, facebook.com/Jelena Coaching.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jelena. I really appreciate you coming on to the show. I'm really grateful. I'm sure the audience has learned a lot. Thank you so very much. And for the rest of you, I will see you in the next episode. Cheers.
Hey there, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, check out a relevant video here, and don't forget to subscribe to us for more marketing tips, techniques, strategies that are working for us, or just more behind the scenes fun. See ya.